From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us this Monday. Our top story tonight, the Environmental Protection Agency wants to improve air quality across the country, and they proposed increasing efficiency on wood stoves and heaters.
Now, under the changes, non-catalytic wood stoves could emit less than 4.5 grams of fine particulate pollution per hour starting in 2015. The standards would become tighter in 2019 when new stoves could produce up to 1.3 grams per hour. The EPA will take public comment on the proposed standards, which will affect newly manufactured wood stoves. A spokesperson for the Department of Environmental Conservation says the federal proposal may impact their own proposal to improve wood burning efficiency.
Our proposed standards are lower than EPA's first step. However, their second or third step appear to be much lower than what we're proposing. So we will continue our process and then evaluate everything and proceed from there.
Cindy Heil says the comment period for DEC's proposed regulations is nearly complete. They will host a public hearing tomorrow at 5 p.m. in the Westmark Hotel and an open house Wednesday at 5 p.m. at the Westmark. The DEC has proposed a much broader strategy to control fine particulate pollution in the interior. Anyone interested in listening or commenting is encouraged to attend.
It's the last day of winter break for Fairbanks North Starborough School District students, and tomorrow the newly adjusted bell schedule is set to begin. After complaints, petitions, and school board meetings regarding the schedule changes made at the beginning of the 2013-14 school year, administrators with the district have adjusted the schedule again. The changes will only affect West Valley and Lathrop high schools. The two schools chose to reinstate longer passing periods, and West Valley returned to a single lunch. Superintendent Pete Lewis talked about the process and what he's looking forward to.
Anytime there's a democracy, it's a messy process, and so these kinds of things are going to need to be talked about and worked through. And then the nice thing is that our school district does listen, and our administrators and staff work very hard to provide a quality experience to our kids, and we're excited to get the next semester started and think we're going to have a great second half to the school year.
The Fairbanks Community Food Bank serves tens of thousands of interior residents throughout the year. It takes thousands of hours and a large number of volunteers to keep the nonprofit organization going. During the holidays, the food bank served over 8,000 families and received countless donations from the community and local businesses. For 2014, the organization is still in need of items and people to help keep it operating, as an estimated 1,800 volunteers spent over 20,000 hours last year alone providing assistance to those in need.
The wonderful part of the food bank is that there are three things that we need. It's pretty simple, straightforward. We need volunteers, we need cash, and we need food. So pretty much whatever people enjoy doing. And sometimes families come and they do all three. They give some cash, they bring their kids and do some volunteering, and they also love to do canned food drives.
Daryl, well, Mike is not here to talk about weather yet, but isn't it crazy that our temperatures here are warmer than pretty much everywhere in the world?
Pretty much, yeah. It's they're getting a Fairbanks winter, all right.
They are. Well, Mike will be back with that soon, but when we come back, an Anchorage woman is in jail after striking a family while driving intoxicated.
Also, we highlight another nonprofit organization who works with the United Way of the Tanana Valley. Those stories are next. Stay with us.
And welcome back. The legislature will convene later this month in Juneau, and the Fairbanks Chamber of Commerce is getting ready. Tuesday's weekly chamber luncheon will feature a panel discussion with members of the Interior Legislative Delegation. Participants will include Senator John Coghill, Senator Pete Kelly, Representative Doug Isaacson, and Representative Tammy Wilson. The luncheon starts at 11:30 a.m. Tuesday at the Carlson Center. The legislature will convene on January 21st.
Anchorage police say a drunk driver struck a mother, a child, and an infant in a stroller. Authorities said the accident occurred early Sunday morning. Erica Merrill was arrested after the accident and charged with felony DUI, multiple counts of assault, driving with a revoked license, and driving without insurance. The mother and two children sustained injuries, but authorities said they do not appear to be life-threatening. The three victims were part of a larger group that was walking along the side of the road when the accident occurred.
As the Arctic changes continue to invite more traffic, the U.S. Coast Guard is making its presence known with an annual event that will train people for future operations there. News Center 11's Monty Bowen reports.
Arctic Shield is an annual premier Coast Guard operation that started in 2012. More than ever, it's getting ready for activity that's occurring in the Arctic. That's because of the continuing melt of sea ice. There's a three-prong objective with Arctic Shield.
First and foremost, we're looking at capabilities. What are the capabilities we need to operate in the Arctic? We're looking at our operations. What are the procedures we want to use in appropriately addressing the threats in the Arctic, the emergence of the Arctic, and then finally outreach.
As the lead federal agency in the Arctic, the Coast Guard is working to make sure concerns of the locals are properly addressed.
Whether it's tribal concerns or any of the local politicians or anybody else, and what we're doing up there, what the emergence of the Arctic means for the nation and the state of Alaska.
With the changes happening in the Arctic environment, every year is a little different.
We're capturing everything that we learn, and we continue to be transparent in what we're doing, both with the local communities as well as our other federal agencies. So I'm really proud of the work that we've done so far. I'm really proud of the approach that we've taken. We have an obligation, Coast Guard, to be there and provide the same services that we provide everywhere else in the country.
Monty Bowen, News Center 11.
The United Way of the Tanana Valley fundraising campaign is quickly drawing to a close, but the funds that are raised need to be allocated to 20 agencies within the community. Tonight, we focus on another of those agencies with News Center 11's Mike Schultz.
The Fairbanks Community Food Bank was founded in 1982, and their mission is to collect and redistribute donated food to individuals and agencies within the Fairbanks community. Ann Weaver is the Chief Operations Officer for the food bank and says the United Way plays a major role in the daily operations.
The United Way has been an incredible support of the food bank for the last, I want to say, 2 decades or more. Matter of fact, they brought in over $1 million to this food bank since we've been an agency. It's really fun thinking about what the food bank does because it's such simple work. Last year we collected in 1 year over 2 million pounds of food, that most of it would have been thrown in the garbage can, so what a waste. And then we were able to turn that around and feed almost 40,000 people, and almost 40% of those are local children. So that's been an amazing mission to be a part of.
What is it about the Fairbanks Community Food Bank that makes Ann most proud?
One of my favorite parts about working at the food bank are the stories. We did serve almost 40,000 people last year. That's 40,000 stories. And we hear stories. We received a beautiful card one year from a class of 3rd graders that just said thank you because 80% of the folks in that class receive our services. So when you wonder where your money's going, look around. It's amazing how many people folks have impacted this community just by giving through United Way.
During her time with the food bank, what does she see as her biggest fulfillment or reward?
It really makes it real. It's so easy to say there are hungry people in this community, but when you sit there and you look at somebody, I give lots of presentations, and when somebody raises their hand and says thank you, I got to tell you, that makes my whole week.
The United Way fundraising campaign is nearing its end, but there's still time for you to participate. And remember, all donations stay right here in our community. Mike Schultz, News Center 11.
Joe is again busy.
He had a busy weekend.
Scene.
Yeah. Well, the Nanoks were back to play this past weekend, so he's got that. And basketball as always. So Joe Cook is next with a full weekend recap of sports. Stick around.
Welcome back, Interior Sports fans. Joe Cook here, bringing you another weekend recap. There's just something about the Patty Center for the UAF men's basketball team. They improved to 6-0 at home this year. No one bigger than Saturday's 65-61 victory over number 15 Western Washington. Saturday, the Nanoks hung their hat on defense. They held the Vikings to a season-low 61 points, just 39%. The Nanoks led all through the game, trailed only once. The Nanoks led by 14 with 8 minutes left, but the Vikings made it a 61-59 game with 58 seconds left. Austin Bragg had a game-high 21 for the Vikes. But Joe Slocum, he would get a clutch steal. He had 12 points as well. Ronnie Baker had 14. Suke Putsar, he would hit 2 clutch free throws late. He led UAF with 18 as the Nanoks get the win. The Nanoks scored 23 points off of turnovers and were plus 10 in second chance points. Andrew Kelly had 14 and 11 as the Nooks defeat the Vikings in consecutive years at the Patty.
It's really big for us to win close games because we're going to have a lot more of them, I feel, and the more we win, the better we get. So a close games are really good for our team.
Our zone defense worked really good, as well as man. So I think that's the key, because we just gotta stay together, play together. We're getting better and better with our defense. So
we led 37.5 minutes of this basketball game. So that tells you, even though we had some rough spots late, you know, we put together a pretty good 40 minutes against a good basketball team to lead that much.
10 total goals were counted at the end of 3 periods of hockey at the Carlson Center Saturday night. Just 6 minutes into the game in Alaska, they had a 1-0 lead thanks to a Marcus Pissarro goal. He finished with 2 points. The Mavs, however, got 3 unanswered scores in the second period. Jean-Paul LaFontaine, he had 2 goals for the Mavs during that run. He finished with 3 points. But at the 18:09 mark of the second period, defenseman Trevor Campbell gave the Nanooks life with his goal, brought the Nooks within 2-3 going to the third. Campbell had his first career 3-point game. The Mavs got away from the Nanooks, though, with consecutive scores late in the third period after the teams traded goals. Freshman Josh Erickson scored his first career goal off of a redirect with 1:01 remaining, but the Mavs win 6-4 for the series split.
What we did this weekend is something we can build on in a ton of positive ways. And, you know, again, I think guys are going very, very hard. And tonight we didn't get the result, but I think going into this road trip, everybody's pretty positive.
The Ice Dogs were outshot against the Wild in Friday's 3-2 loss. Saturday, the Ice Dogs were the Hunters instead of the Hunted in their 5-3 victory over the Wild. The Wild's Nicholas Rivera scored his second goal of the game with a power play goal in the last 3.5 minutes of the second period to force a 3-3 tie. The defense of the Ice Dogs and Kevin Aldridge were key as they tamed the Wild with a shutout third period. Hans Gaworski could provide the offense with his game-winning goal at 7:27. Colton Walter got an empty net goal at the buzzer for the final margin. The Ice Dogs now have a 5-point lead in the Midwest Division. The Ice Dogs will be back in their own barn, the Big Dipper, for the next 6 games. The Mount McKinley Bank Holiday Classic wrapped up on Saturday. Let's go back to Boileau Hall to see who came away with some hardware. In the last day of competition, the Mount McKinley Bank Holiday Classic, the Thunder Mountain girls won 43-25 over the Palmer Moose for the girls' title, and the Falcons beat the Moose as well in the second-place boys' game, 69-38. The Lathrop girls and Monroe played for pride in the battle of winless teams. Lathrop was in control with a 40-24 lead in the fourth, but the Rams cut it to 9 with 2:30 to go behind the play of Andy Clark and Sarah Hadukovic. They had 32 of Monroe's 38 points. The Malamutes, though, they were able to answer with Alexis Shipman and Brooke Lazat. Shipman had 10 timely points, and Lazat had 11 as Lathrop holds on for a 49-38 win.
I think the more games and the more practices and working hard, we're gonna be a great team. I think we can win the championship, Golden State. I really do.
The boys' title game, Monroe battled service. The Cougars had a good start to this one as they went inside to Pendo Dramé. He finished with 11 points. And Reese Robinson had 10 points, put it in some work on the post. But Monroe also had a good start. Jalen McCullough had 11 of his game-high 17 points in the first, and Monroe led 20-15 at the end of one. Monroe got separation with a 34-22 lead at halftime and outscored the Cougars 38-26 in the second half for a 72-48 championship win.
This last game, we knew as a team that we had to finish it out. Because the state tournament, you got to win 3 straight games, and you got to play 3 straight great games. So that's what we did tonight, and I just love the toughness of our team. I think we might have had a little bit over our turnovers tonight, but we still did a great job.
Scooter Bynum was the tournament MVP for the boys, and Thunder Mountain's Ava Tompkins for the girls. Bynum, Tyler Wells, David Stepovich, and McCullough were all tourney picks, as well as Lathrop's Mackenzie Warner, Brooke Lazat, and Monroe's Sarah Hadukovic. That puts the 2014 Mount McKinley Bank Holiday Classic in the books. And now to wrap up the weekend recap action, here's this week's I-5, the interior top 5 plays. At number 5 on the I-5, Alexis Shipman, the freshman from Lathrop, with a couple of big layups in Lathrop's 49-38 win over Monroe in the Mount McKinley Bank Holiday Classic, their lone win of the tournament. At number 4, junior defenseman Trevor Campbell, his goal from the point in his first career 3-point game in the Nanooks 6-4 loss to Minnesota State on Saturday. At number 3, a couple of throwdowns from the Nanooks 65-61 win over number 15 Western Washington on Saturday. Austin Bragg of the Vikings and UAF's Andrew Kelly provide the dunkage. At number 2, defense to offense for the Monroe Rams. Tyler Wells with the block getting up, and Scooter Bynum finishes on the leak out as Monroe beat service 72-48 in the Mount McKinley Bank title game. And at number 1, Bet to Koenig to Morley. Koenig with the filthy move to lose 2 Minnesota State defenders. Koenig finds Tyler Morley for his 10th goal of the year, the second of the game, as UAF wins 4-2 on Friday over the Minnesota State Mavericks that ended their 7-game winning streak. To pick the play of the week, just go to the KTVF Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube pages and tell us which one it is. The play of the week will be revealed this Friday.
The I-5 Sports Report is brought to you by Adient Orthopedic Physical Therapy.
And that's a wrap for sports. Thanks for rocking with me for a little while. Stay warm, Alaska. Mike Schultz is next with your full weather forecast, and we'll catch you next time.
Hey everyone, welcome back into Fairbanks Evening News. Mike Schultz with you once again, taking a look at weather, and it was a great weekend. Lots of opportunities for all your outdoor activities. The temperatures were wonderful. We're going to continue that trend, it looks like, through most of the week, and a little cooler maybe toward the end of the week. More about that in a little bit. Look at our photograph for tonight. This is a big old bull moose. This one was taken by Cindy Overcash on New Year's Day. And it was right out her backyard there. That's a big boy there. Again, if you have a photograph to share with us, by all means, send it to photos@ktvf11.com. What's going on at the airport right now? 19 degrees. That is our high for the day. The low last night, 2 degrees. Record high, 1934. Got up to 34 that day. Down to 57 below in 1975. And your sunrise and sunset, about 4 hours and 27 minutes of daylight, a gain of 4 minutes from yesterday. Here's our satellite and radar. One system moves off to the east, another system coming in from the southwest. It looks like most of this is going to veer off to the west and just leave us alone with just maybe mainly cloudy skies, but temperatures will continue quite warm as they come up from the south. Rest of the state today, looking at fog around Juneau, and otherwise just mainly partly cloudy to cloudy skies everywhere else you look. Temperature is pretty nice in Nome, 31 degrees there. Fort Yukon, 5 degrees. Obviously, the lower 48 big news today is all the cold temperatures, severe cold. Wind chill factors down to 70 below. You're going to see a lot more on the NBC Nightly News coming up next. They got a lot of video there and everything to share with you. We'll talk more about that in just a little bit. And as you can see on our satellite and radar, again, all the clearing skies here indicating where the cold air is trapped and moving as far south as Atlanta, Georgia, where the temperature was 4 degrees there this morning. A new system moving across the Pacific Northwest. Lake effect snows are going to be really incredible. 4 feet near Buffalo, New York by tomorrow, and that will continue as the winds move across the Great Lakes there, bringing all that moisture and across the warmer waters of the lakes there. And the overall outlook for later on this week, the jet stream slowly starting to move back up to the north, which means the cold air will recede. That's good news for the folks there and giving them a chance to thaw out. All right, back to Alaska for tomorrow. Some blowing snow for Barrow, snow in Nome, and scattered snow showers at Fort Yukon. Here in the interior, we'll be looking at, for the most part, just mostly cloudy skies, continuing mild for Healy, Delta Junction, and Fairbanks. While over southeast Alaska, mixed rain and snow for Juneau. Rain should be diminishing in the Ketchikan area. Over to the southwest, rain at Cold Bay, freezing rain for Bethel, and rain showers at Kodiak Island. While over the south central regions, cloudy skies at Anchorage, isolated rain and snow in Homer and Valdez. And our weather fact for today, as we get ready for the kids next week. Well, tonight's weather fact, in 1988, Oklahoma City had 1 foot of snow in a 24-hour period. That's a lot of snow for that far south. Again, thanks to Mount McKinley Bank for sponsoring our Kids Weather Watch. And like I said, next week, the kids from Two Rivers School will be here to visit with us. Okay, here's your forecast for the remainder of the night. 6 degrees, cloudy skies, chance of light snow, even some freezing rain is possible, so keep that in mind. Roads become very slick possible by morning. Tomorrow's forecast, 11 degrees, not as warm as it was today, mostly cloudy skies to continue, and the extended forecast calling for the cloudy skies, maybe some snow showers back in the picture for Wednesday and Thursday, and then again, maybe over the weekend you might see another possibility of some shower activity. But otherwise, temperatures will continue way above normal for this time of year. In fact, we're looking for overnight lows very warm for this time of year, usually around 17 below, only 10 degrees below zero, so that's very comfortable. All in all, nice forecast. And you got a chance to get out over the weekend and enjoy some of that weather. Skiing.
I sure did. I just can't believe that I was out on the slopes and it was 20 degrees above zero, and my family in New York was hunkered down freezing.
Yeah,
getting dumped on by lots of snow.
Yeah, that's true.
Even at the Green Bay game over the weekend, our 49ers won. It was colder there than it was here.
I guess one interesting fact, more than 200 million people are being affected by this winter storm in the lower 48.
Wow.
And here we are in Alaska, just toasty warm.
Yep.
Shorts weather. That's right.
It's true. That's
All
crazy.
right. That will wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. As always, we are glad you could join us.
All right, coming up next on Nightly News, the polar vortex that we're talking about that's bearing down on the lower 48. Now, what is it and how long will it last? Check that out with Brian Williams.
And you can join us here 6 days a week at 6 and 11 or online anytime at webcenter11.com.
That will do it from all of us here at the News Center. Remember that the roads could become very slick later on this evening, so keep it in mind when you're going to work tomorrow morning.